ಈ ಬಂದಿರುವ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಜಯಚಂದ್ರಜಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸುಕುಮಾರ್ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು. ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇವತ್ತು, ನಮ್ಮ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ನರಸಿಂಹಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ರುದ್ರಯಜ್ಞ ರುದ್ರಹೋಮ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಶ್ರೀ ರುದ್ರಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾಮಂತ್ರ ಅಂಥದ್ದು ಮಹಾಮೃತ್ಯುಂಜಯ ಮಂತ್ರ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ತ್ರಯಂಬಕಂ ಯಜಾಮಹೇ ಸುಗಂಧಿಂ ಪುಷ್ಟಿವರ್ಧನಂ ಉರ್ವಾರುಗಮಿವ ಬಂಧನಾತ್ ಮೃತ್ಯೋರ್ಮುಕ್ಷೀಯ ಮಾಮೃತಾತ್. ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ಪವಿತ್ರವಾದಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಮಂತ್ರ ಇದು. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಮಂತ್ರ, ಮಹಾಮೃತ್ಯುಂಜಯ ಮಂತ್ರ, ವಿಚ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ in Rudram as a part of Sri Rudram, is one of the most sacred mantras and a very deep one. Generally people think by chanting Mahamrutyunjaya mantra you can get rid of death, you can live forever. Mrityor mukshiya, give me freedom from death. And people think if they are sick, they are unhealthy, they are having problems with their body, they can pray to Lord Rudra to cure their illness and give them a long life. This is the general impression of Mahamrutyunjaya mantra. O three-eyed one, Trayambakam Yajamahe, I worship you. Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, you are fragrant with wisdom. And you are Pushtivardhana, you are giving me strength, you are nourishing me. Urvarukamiva bandhanat, Nrityor mukshiya, like the sweet gourd that ripens and falls away from the branch. Let me also be freed from death. It says, we stop here, but there is some more left. Ma amrutata, let this body fall away when it ripens, when the time comes, but let me not forget that I am immortal. Ma amrutata, let me not be detached from the idea that I am the immortal self. ನಾನು ಅಮೃತವಾಗಿದ್ವಿ, ಮೃತ್ಯು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಜ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ಮಂತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ನಾವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದು ಹೇಳಿ ಆ ಮಂತ್ರ ಹೇಳಿ ಮಂತ್ರದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಭಾವ ನಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಥವಾ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಜನ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮೃತ್ಯುದಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡಿಯಪ್ಪ, ನಾನು ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವ ಉಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಭಾವನೆಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಂಥ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅಮೃತತ್ವದಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ, ಅಮೃತತ್ವ ನನ್ನ ನಿಜ ಸ್ವರೂಪ, ಅದು ನನಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥದ್ದು ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೊಂದು ಮೋಟೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ವಿಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಂಥರ ಯಾವುದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನೇ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮೃತ್ಯೋರ್ ಮುಕ್ಷೀಯ ಮಹಾಮೃತಾತ್. ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಲೋಗೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೋಟೋ, ಮೃತ್ಯೋರ್ ಮುಕ್ಷೀಯ ಮಹಾಮೃತಾತ್. ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಬಿ ಫ್ರೀಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಡೆತ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತ್, but let me never be detached from the idea of immortality. So when patients come to our hospital, or when in the medical school we are training doctors, they must remember that they are treating the body, but there is a soul within that body which is immortal, and that soul is the presence of divinity. ಆ ದೇಹವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಆ ದೇಹ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಂದರೆ, ಆ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಜೀವ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಜೀವಯೇ ಶಿವ. ಆ ಭಾವನೆ, ಆ ಅಮೃತತ್ವವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ದ ಡಿವಿನಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಹೂ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್. ಸೊ ವೈಲ್ ಬರ್ತ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೆತ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್, ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಅ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್, another day an old man dies. It is a process of life and death. But when death comes also, let us not die in fear. Mahamrutyunjaya mantra removes the fear of death, because everybody dies with regret. When they are dying, they have 100 other ideas. I wanted to earn a little more, I wanted to go to another country, I wanted to see my great grandson then die. All kinds of ideas people have, and because of desires they are fearful of death. But the one who has no desire is fearless, because he has nothing to worry about, nothing to wait for. He is always ready, like the sweet gourd is ready to drop off from the branch. Like that, the person who is desireless is ready to embrace death also with smile. He is never afraid of that, because he is aware that he is immortal self and not the temporary body. So Mahamrutyunjaya mantra reminds us of our immortality and also tells us that death is the vesture of life. It will come to every one of us sooner or later. And when it comes, we will drop off like the sweet gourd that has ripened and drops off from its branch. It should be as effortless, as smooth, as natural as that. But let us not be detached from the idea that we are the immortal self. Jiva ye Shiva. I always keep telling there is Jiva in us, that alone is Shiva. There is no separate Shiva somewhere. That very Jiva in us is Shiva. The very life force is Shiva. And that is what is there on those, that trees are there painted everywhere. ಸವದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಒಂದು ವೃಕ್ಷದ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮುಂಡಕೋಪನಿಷತ್. ಆ ವೃಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕೇರ್ಫುಲಿ ವಾಚ್. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂದರೆ ದ್ವಾ ಸುಪರ್ಣ ಸಯುಜಾ ಸಖಾಯ ಸಮಾನಂ ವೃಕ್ಷೆ ಪರ್ವಶಸ್ವ ಜಾತೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮುಂಡಕೋಪನಿಷತ್ ದಟ್ ಆನ್ ಒನ್ ಟ್ರೀ ಲಿವ್ 2 birds. Both look alike. Both are same in their feathers. Both are look alike. But one of them is always happy. Another one is always sad. Why? Because the bird which is on the lower branch is eating the fruits bitter and sweet. When it eats sweet fruit, it is happy. When it eats bitter fruit, it becomes sad. But it sees the bird which is sitting up above peacefully without eating any fruits. It is sitting peacefully. And then it thinks, how come that bird is so peaceful? I am always restless. I am always suffering one day, enjoying another day. How is that that bird is so pleasant and peaceful? How can I become like that? This lower bird thinks. So when it starts jumping branch by branch, hopping from one branch to another, and slowly tries to reach the upper bird, it finally realizes that there are no 2 birds on the tree. There is only one bird. The lower bird is the jiva, which engages with the world in pleasures and pain. Sukha, dukkha, these are the fruits that we eat in the world. And suffer one day, enjoy another day. But as we rise in our spiritual progress, we realize that we are none other than Shiva. Jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham asya mahimanamiti vita shokaha. This lower bird which is suffering suddenly puts effort, jushtam, and goes branch by branch up. In the sense, it puts spiritual efforts and realize that there is no other bird there. It is its higher self. The Shiva Tattva is sitting there, and Jiva Tattva is what it's experiencing. But Jiva is none other than Shiva. Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. This is itself Shiva. That is the immortal concept in our scriptures. The day we rise beyond the dualities of life and not engage with the pleasures and pains of the world, the way we establish ourselves in that immortal self within and see everything from that point of view, we will never suffer in this world. We become Shiva at that moment when we go beyond the dualities of birth and death, pleasures and pain, success and failures, cold and heat. This kind of idea is our scriptural idea that Jiva itself is Shiva. There is no other separate Shiva. So when we worship Shiva, we have to pray like this. Let me realize that you are within me. Let me realize that the immortality in me is your presence. The body will fall, mind will change, emotions will shift. But this soul, which is your presence in me, it never dies. When we realize that, we become the upper bird. We become one with Shiva, and as he was chanting in Shastra Vakyam is saying, Satchidanandam there. Then this Maya of the Jagat does not affect us anymore. We become beyond. We rise from avidya to vidya and attain that highest. So all these rituals, while we perform all these prayers and rituals for the prosperity of all, but more importantly, it is to remind us of our immortality. If we do everything and finally go back again the way we came, it is of no use. When we go back from this Yagyashala, go back with this confirmed knowledge that we are immortal self only. These passing, whatever the temporariness of the world is not forever. One day we'll be happy, another day we'll be sad. Nobody should come and pray that all days should be happy. It is not possible. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam, Krishna says. This world is full of sorrow only. If one sorrow goes, another will come, that's all. A little gap which is there, we call it happiness between 2 sorrows. That is how the nature of the world is. The only way to find peace is like the upper bird, which does not get engaged with these sorrows and pleasures. It remains steady in the consciousness of Shiva. The lower bird, Jiva, eats bitter and sweet fruits and suffers one day and enjoys another day. Our idea is to rise in our spiritual progress and attain that higher wisdom that we are Shiva and not anything other than that. That is what they were all singing Brahmagyana Vali Mala. They were saying, Asangoham, 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 punah punaha. I am detached. I am detached. I am not attached to fruits of actions, fruits of joys and sorrows. I am the detached self. Satchidananda Rupoham. Aham eva aham avyayaha. What is your definition? You design, I am woman, I am man, I am boy, I am girl, I am a student, I am a priest, I am a minister, I am a person. No, our definition is I am I. That is the definition. Who are you? I am I. Don't write that in exam. You will not get any marks. But I am I is the idea that I am that divine Shiva only. That is my truth. Everything else is superimposition on that. Yes, that I only becomes a man, that I only becomes a woman in a body, that I only becomes a student, that I only becomes the teacher. Same man, when he goes to his wife, he becomes husband. Same man goes to his son, becomes father. Same man goes to his grandson, becomes grandfather. Same man goes to school and teaches, becomes a teacher. The same man comes and sits here, becomes a devotee. The same man who is behaving like 5 people. Likewise, the same Shiva behaves like all the Jivas. But the truth is that we are Shiva. And the more we remind ourselves of that, the better our life's quality will be. We won't swing between pleasure and pain every day. We will go beyond the dualities. That is where the truth lies. That is where the truth of oneness, that is where the truth of immortality lies. And once you attain that, it becomes abhaya. You become fearless. That is the existence we must strive for. Fearless existence as divine, not fearful existence as mortal beings who are afraid of every little thing in the life. Little money you lose, you're afraid. A little health falls, you're afraid. Somebody, relation you lose, you're afraid. Tomorrow what will happen, you do not know, so you're afraid. Everywhere, bhayam, 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 bhayam. But our immortal idea is abhayam. And abhaya is possible only when you know that you are the self which is indestructible and not the destructible body. You are not Jiva, you are Shiva. That is why I say Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. We are that divine Shiva. So you might find it difficult to understand immediately, but go on telling yourself. Go on, Shivosmiham, Shivosmiham, Shivosmiham. You keep chanting. Slowly that mantra will reveal its meaning to you. Our Rishi received these mantras in their meditation. When they realized their Shiva, they said it, Shivosmiham. We are not realizing we are Shiva. So what we have to do, we start with Shivosmiham, 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 and we will realize Shiva. It's a two-way traffic. The way you go to Chikbalapur, the same road brings you back to Muddanhalli. Either you realize God and say Shivosmiham, or start saying Shivosmiham, and you'll realize one day that you are one with Shiva. So mantra japam is very, very important. Meditation, mananat trayate. By meditating on this simple mantra, Shivosmiham, or Aham Brahmasmi, or whichever mantra you choose, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam, Brahma, whatever Mahamantra you choose, you do that. And this mantra, that Shivosmiham, is the way to slowly realize, and that mantra will take you to the destination. So all of us should continuously remind ourselves of our divine self. That will help us to rise above the day-to-day vicissitudes of life. It will help us to go beyond duality and find that permanent peace which does not change at all. And that is the idea of all these rituals in our scriptures. May you meditate and contemplate on this idea. May you attain this truth in this very lifetime. Don't wait for another lifetime. We don't know we'll get or not. We have got such a beautiful lifetime where we are in the presence of sacred people. We are able to perform and celebrate these kind of festivities. We are in good health so that we are sitting and able to attend all these programs. All these may not be possible in another time, in another birth. So let us not waste any time. Let us use this opportunity, make the best of it by constantly contemplating on our true self, which is that we are Shiva, we are divine, and we are not the temporary, ephemeral, transient existence as a human body. We are beyond that. Let us remind ourselves all the time.